Hey everyone, it's Lynn again. Last fall, I was invited on an epic train journey throughout Switzerland, starting up north in St. Gallen, exploring Lucerne and Locarno, and ending in the Valais Mountains. The twist is, I am traveling with someone I've never met. Luckily, Alex, a photographer from the UK, was an easygoing travel buddy, even when we were seconds away from missing our connection or tired after an intense glacier hike. So, I flew from New York City to Zurich a few days after my 24th birthday. Nervous, but excited for our adventure ahead in Switzerland. Walking through St. Gallen, you can make one turn and go from a street full of traditional German architecture to modern art installations with bold primary colors. During our travels, Alex and I had 4 video challenges with different themes. For the first one, I pulled out my sketchbook to compare the old and new facades, typography, and art around the town. Then, we had the privilege of visiting the oldest library collection in Switzerland, the Abbey Library of St. Gall. I knew I'd feel right at home from the start because we had to put on slippers, no outside shoes allowed. Elka, the head of museum operations, guided us through the library's archival work and extensive curation, from handwritten Gregorian chants to medieval globes.
And this is another globe. This globe is we made the in the beginning of 11th century.
As a lifelong bookworm, I loved learning about the library's history, the resilience and efforts that went into preserving it, and the current services. Many of the books are available to borrow for academic and research purposes.
It's incredible. Thank you so much for having us.
Hey, I'm excited to guess book. This is so cool. After hitting the stacks, it was time for me to hit the hay and get some much-needed rest before the highs and lows of the next day. The train ride from St. Gallen brought us south to a port on Lake Lucerne, named after the city that sits on its western bank. We're here for Europe's highest open-air elevator and a dive into the lake waters. It doesn't matter what you're more scared of, heights, the deep ocean. Today was the day to overcome them all. watched the web series on Switzerland's YouTube channel, you would know we ran into a little bit of a hiccup here, but nevertheless, we made the most of our time riding up the funicular and eventually riding back down when we got kicked out. Although we started our day with beautiful clear skies, lots of sun, by the time we had lunch, it was overcast and a little dreary. So by the afternoon, when we were allowed to go back up and go up the elevator, we knew while hiking to the lift that we would not be able to see this clear, sunny, panoramic view that we expected. But taking the Hemmetschwan lift up through the clouds, the fog, it was very moody and mysterious, and it was cool to see these two sides of Switzerland in one day.
Right. Because then you can like put the other one and then have a thumbs up.
There it is. Yeah.
If you were curious and wondering what I was more afraid of, you're about to find out. Alex and I were about to do something I was terrified of, which is go in the submarine. Philip and the submarine crew kind of eased my worries, talked us through the safety procedures, but also brought some excitement because we were going to see a shipwreck at the bottom of the lake. As concerned as my face is, nothing was going to prepare me for the awe of being 100 meters underwater. I let out a huge breath of relief when I saw the submarine pop up to the surface again, but I was also super proud that I did something that I was afraid of. It's not every day you get to go 100 meters into Lake Lucerne, and I'm glad I did it.
What could it be? Are we taming lions?
On this Sunday morning, we're going from Lucerne to the Ticino region via boat and train. Alex and I had a very yummy lunch on the waters, and we also got to meet the captain of the ship. He gave us a rundown of his operations, including how he communicates to other crew members with the speaking tube.
Bruno, was jetzt? Die sind gerade oben. Machen wir das Manöver bekriegen mit dem Sprachrohr,
Okay, thank you. Then we transferred to the Gotthard Panorama Express. After witnessing the most beautiful views from a train window, we transferred to one more train and then we landed in Locarno. You can tell the moment you step off the train just by the palm trees and the gelato shops and the warmer air. Life feels a little bit slower here. And as they would say, in the Italian-speaking region of Switzerland, you have to have some dolce far niente, or pleasure in the small things, like having a gelato after a long day. The next morning in Locarno, we got up super early to catch the bus to Verzasca Dam. We met up with an engineer named Andrea, and he was very kind to take us inside, give us a tour of how all this electricity is produced. I have a lot of friends and family who are engineers, so it's cool to see what a typical day in the life might look like for them. Some of the dam's beautiful views, we were super hungry, so we got lunch back in town, and then we explored Locarno a little bit to shoot for our postcard challenge. Thanks to Alex being a great actor and a good sport, I was able to wrap up on filming before we had to leave to catch our next train. Stand right here.
Yeah.
Do a peace sign. Although I was sad to depart the sunny, warm region of Ticino, we had many things to look forward to in our next town, Münster, which is in the Valais region. Münster is a traditional Swiss village nestled in between mountain tops. This is one of the most beautiful places to enjoy slower mornings and just take in all of the nature. After a lovely night at Landhaus, Alex and I went our separate ways to do a little bit of solo shooting in the morning. Münster is a small town, so it felt very whimsical to go out and quietly observe the buildings and homes, how they frame nature, the way nature moves, listening to the morning birds. It was so peaceful. After lunchtime, we were whisked away back into the city. This day, we explored Brig. I remember it being a great place to people watch, but before you know it, we're taking a taxi and we're going a little bit out of the city to visit a farm. And David run a small family farm with cows, pigs, and chickens, and they showed us their slice of life of what it was like to nurture the animals, build a community, and take care of their family. was most excited for our last day because we're hiking on top of a glacier. The Alege Glacier is Europe's longest, and our guide Dominic has been walking and running this path that leads to the glacier since he was a kid. As we began our descent, we listened to his stories of growing up in the Swiss Alps, how it's changed, and waited patiently for the mountains to greet us from behind the clouds. Like many of the people we've met on this trip, Dominic shared so much of his knowledge of how glaciers are formed and how it's rapidly melting. And with each year that passes, the hike becomes more and more difficult. And not because Dominic's age is catching up to him, but because with the meters that melt off the glacier each year, the journey to and from the glacier becomes increasingly steeper. Seeing this motivates me to do my part in taking care of our Earth. Our final goodbye and last handshake, it's time to go home. In just 6 days, I've made a bundle of memories that I'm gonna tuck away and cherish forever. Thank you to Alex, Jonas, and Vanessa, and the Swiss tourism team for making this journey a great one. As tired as my body was by the end, I was filled with so much joy. Truly, to everyone I met along the way, I hope I see you again soon. Stay safe and take care until then. Bye.